Talk on the Edge.
I'm your host, Kylie, and today I have my co-host,
Jason Walton.
And Landon Rutledge.
and we have a very special guest here today, Miss Courtney Woods, founder of PC Empowerment.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so grateful to be here with you all this morning.
Can you tell us a little about yourself before we go into these questions, please?
Absolutely. So, my name is Courtney Woods. I have a website and promotional design agency, PC Media Techs, where we specialize in designing websites for people and helping them with their back end workflow and really creating visually appealing content. And we'll be celebrating 10 years in business in December.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And so we also have a nonprofit sector where we raise awareness about digital mental health because after so many years spent building a website design agency, having to design websites, edit videos, send emails, do outreach, retain clients, do sales, and all of this different stuff, I would come home from work every day and my mind would just feel completely overwhelmed and exhausted. And I wanted to get to the bottom of why. And so that's when I started researching and learning about information overload, digital exhaustion. And as I learned more, I learned how to recognize the triggers before I got to that overwhelming state. And yeah, that's what we do at PC Empowerment. We teach other people how technology affects your brain.
Okay, so I have the first question. What inspired you to start helping people create websites, and what's the most exciting part of your job?
So I grew up with computers in the house a lot. Back when I was a little girl, it's unlike how you all have it these days with all of these different devices. We had a desktop computer, and it had AOL dial-up on it. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with AOL, but when you log on, it'll make like all these screeching and beeping noises like a fax machine. All of this just so you can access the internet. And I just thought it was the coolest thing, and it was just what we had access to at the time. And technology has advanced over the years. So pretty much, I learned that I was intrigued with computers and different softwares that let you design different things. And so I took an internship when I went to UAB, and they had me moving their content from one website platform to another. And that's when I realized I want to design websites for people. I enjoy doing this. I'm passionate about this. This is fun. I've always liked, spending time on the computer. And I think this is my lane. So that's what really inspired me. And from that day forward, I said I want to help people get their business online.
I got the next question for you. You've won many awards for your business, and what is the biggest challenge you've had to overcome to get there?
So I would definitely have to say my earlier years in business, just putting together different procedures and policies concerning like the way that we operate when we intake a client, when we're working on a project. How many revisions do they get after we have designed their website? Do they just get to keep calling whenever they get ready and saying, hey, can we see what this looks like in blue, or can you change this or add this picture? So I had to put certain things in place so that it can keep me from overworking myself and really make sure that the client has everything that they need so it can be a mutually beneficial relationship. So really that structure and putting together those procedures was a journey for me. And that's one of the things that, was the biggest challenge for me early on. And then once I overcame that obstacle, now I can do phone consultations to talk to anybody about anything and know exactly how to direct the conversation to make sure that they get exactly what they're looking for so they can reach their goals. And we, in exchange, also get whatever we're valued at in exchange.
Thank you. Well, I have the next question. Can you tell us about PC empowerment and why you think it is important for young people to learn about digital mental health?
Absolutely. So, PC Media Techs, that's the website design agency. And then PC Empowerment is the nonprofit sector where we raise awareness about digital mental health. And I think that it's very important for students and youth to learn about digital mental health because you all have grown up with technology in the palm of your hand since you were a child. When I was in high school, social media was just starting to really peak its head and get more and more popular. And then a few years later, the touchscreen devices came out, which really made it grow more and more popular. So, back when I was in middle school, we didn't have all these different touchscreen devices. We had, flip phones and black and white phones, not a whole lot of features, not a whole lot of apps, no social media on the phone or any of that stuff. So I think that it's really important for your generation to understand how technology affects your mental health. We have students that use social media sometimes. We see when tragedy strikes, sometimes people have maybe reached out for help or they said they did a cry for help on social media. Cyberbullying is a real thing. I don't know if you ever heard of the death scroll, but getting caught up scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, looking at different people's idolized lives on social media all the time, it helps to be aware of how that impacts your self esteem, um, and how that impacts your decision making process. So that's one reason why we think it's important for the youth. We also have a really heavy focus on professionals and in the workplace because, working all day long, sending emails on the computer, experiencing digital burnout, digital overload, exhaustion, from just intaking a lot of information and constantly having to do things all day long can really do a wear and tear on your mind as well.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I got the next question. And what advice would you give middle school students who are interested in learning about technology, design, or starting their own business someday?
Okay, so I would definitely say play around with it, do your research, get your hands wet, find somebody that is talking about these things that you're interested in, and listen, take notes, do your research, play around with these different platforms. Like I told y'all before, I always knew that I enjoyed creating things on the computer and, did a little bit of stuff with graphic design just for fun in my spare time. But when I took that internship and they had me moving content from one website platform to their new website platform, that's when the light bulb went off. And I said, this is what I want to do. So look into different programs. I know with PC Media Techs, we have a marketing apprenticeship that prepares people to, really bust into the marketing industry and the tech industry and kind of just go ahead and get a head start with those different tasks and doing things that every single business needs. Every business, every nonprofit, every organization, every church needs some form of marketing at all times, constantly and consistently. So, if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, definitely, hey, tell your parents, hook me up, put me in a program, research one for them and tell them that you're interested in learning more.
Thank you for that. This is my final question. You talk about creativity and passion in your work. Can you share a project or a moment where you felt proud of making a difference in someone's life or community?
Absolutely. So, one of my clients that I had when it was closer, like toward the earlier years in my business, they had a nonprofit foundation and they were also an author. And when they came to me, they were kind of just trying to get things pushing and going. I believe I designed their first book cover for them and redesigned their nonprofit website on a separate platform. And just being a part of everything behind the scenes, watching them grow from where they were to a national organization. You see some nonprofits, they'll put of America at the end of their name once they hit national. And just being there for all of those changes and having to, update the email address, the domains, the websites, and all of this different stuff to match all these different changes that were happening in real time. I would have to say that was definitely one of the projects that made me feel super important in the community because as they continue to grow, expand, and impact more people, I was doing live updates on their website. I was creating flyers behind the scenes to help them promote whatever it was that they were doing in the community. And it felt really good to be a part of that.
Thank you for that answer.
And I think that might just do it for our podcast today. Thank you for having us. Well, thank you for being here with us.
And thank you for having me. Thank you again.